But this just sent straight from Philly. The Philly MC said they want that smoke, so we're gonna see what y'all got. Meek Mill, you know, you ain't got nothing but air and opportunity to show them how it's done.
I'm at a point in my life like we all grew up in the streets and we try to be better, but they labeled us felons, sent us back to jail. I had to fight against that the whole time.
Where would you be right now if you were just Meek Mill, who nobody knew, if you didn't have all these powerful people who raised your case up and made people?
I would be in prison.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, Daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you.
Meek Mill's got to deal with what he got to deal with based on the relationship him and Puff had.
What if hip-hop's biggest success stories weren't luck, but carefully engineered illusions? What if the parties, connections, and mentorships were masks for a far more ruthless system? This is a raw journey from the streets to the spotlight, where ambition meets manipulation. Behind the smiles, a darker pattern emerges. Gatherings weren't networking but filtering. Guidance wasn't support but control. And many celebrated breakthroughs came at a heavy personal cost. This isn't about fame, it's about power and the hidden machinery of an industry that shapes and owns talent long before the applause begins.
You didn't get that powerful without having 1 or 2 or maybe 3 ups on somebody. Diddy always been the type of individual that wanted to have ups on the next person no matter what they was doing. Like, he always played artists against each other. He did it to Big, he did it to Craig Mack. You understand? I said before, he did the stuff to Ja Rule, you know what I'm saying? So how the ups on Ja Rule, so he could go after Jay-Z. You understand what I'm saying? So he always played those kind of up games on people. So to have those cameras and know what he was doing, it's gonna give him the ups on everybody who came to that party. Even your favorite basketball player. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. We know who said that. He may be one of the person who got caught up in the Diddy party.
Listen closely to what's being revealed. These gatherings weren't casual, they were controlled environments where interactions were observed and documented. This isn't rumor, but a look at how power is preserved through access and information. Guests weren't just attendees, they became part of a larger system. Nothing was spontaneous, everything was strategic. In this world, visibility turns into vulnerability, and influence isn't held by talent alone, but by records that quietly shift control, pulling even admired figures into a game they never chose to play.
If you just pay attention to the testimony, there were videos on an iPad that the employees had access to, right? And you can't tell me anyone who's watching this, they've been anywhere and something was going down and somebody said, hey man, give me a copy of that. Right? I mean, we can go back to the R. Kelly tape. That was VHS. You know how hard it is to make a copy of a VHS? and it was probably 30 or 40 of them tapes in every neighborhood. Right? Now we talking about digital. Now we talking about, hey man, airdrop me that video. Right? Hey.
Spread like wildfire.
Exactly. Because I am pretty sure either through the dark web or through one-sided consent of some sort, it's going to be released.
Legal voices acknowledge recorded material from elite industry spaces may exist, shifting this from rumor to real concern. Private moments weren't kept as memories, but as leverage quietly maintaining power through fear and exposure. For young talent, this wasn't accidental, but a calculated system designed to create dependence and control.
With all the man-on-man action that I'm learning about, I mean, like with the Puffy parties, like the last thing I ever thought that went on there was gay stuff. Not that gay stuff was wrong, it's wonderful. I just did not think that's what Puffy was doing.
Yeah, well, I didn't think it either.
And even when my assistant said that stuff, I still was like joking it off. And it wasn't until later on that I heard other things from people that worked from him. You know, you remember that back in the times of slavery, they had a thing called breaking the buck. That people in the industry are still making young rappers who have fought the worst of circumstances, being disenfranchised, being discounted, and then they finally like, I'm gonna put it into music. I'm gonna do it in the music. I'm gonna, and get myself together. And they go and see someone, and they tell them, okay, yeah, you can have a deal.
Pause on this idea, breaking someone down to control them. This isn't mentorship, it's a modern system of domination. Young talent isn't developed, but dismantled, with identity and independence weakened through pressure and psychological stress. The damage is documented not by accident, but to ensure dependence, silence resistance, and keep control intact.
They're all so tough until you hear their real name.
Yeah, or until you see them at a puffy party.
Oh.
Then they're not tough no more. I'm surprised that the rap game is still alive because the masculinity that the rappers are supposed to portray.
Terrence Howard draws a sharp contrast that's hard to ignore. The artists who project the fiercest toughness on stage are often carrying the deepest internal damage off it. The louder the image of dominance, the heavier the unseen burden behind it. That exaggerated strength becomes a shield, a carefully built persona designed to cover vulnerability, pressure, and private experiences they were never prepared to face. In this way, performance turns into protection, an outward display meant to silence the weight of what happened when no one was watching.
I saw this lawsuit that made it seem as if perhaps Diddy and Meek Mill has.
I mean, to each their own, and why would they not have when they're gay rappers?
They.
Do you think Meek Mill's gay?
We all know he's gay.
Who's we?
Rick Ross knows he's gay.
I didn't know. It's news to me.
Everybody, Rick Ross knows.
You think Rick Ross would sign a gay rapper?
Rick Ross knows he's gay.
Now the narrative sharpens as specific figures are mentioned, not to provoke scandal, but to highlight a broader pattern. Artists known for projecting the hardest, most dominant images are pointed out as examples of how this system operates. The focus isn't on personal choices or preferences, it's on an alleged structure that targets influence and identity. The claim centers on psychological pressure, not private behavior, describing a method designed to weaken individuals internally while they appear powerful publicly, reinforcing control through fear, silence, and imbalance rather than consent or guidance.
I say Usher is a gusher. That's what I said. I said Usher is a gusher. It was nice.
I don't even want to know why you say
His whole thing is accusing everybody of being on some mystery Illuminati gay, right?
So what? They shouldn't have showed me their coochie.
This term isn't clever wordplay, it's presented as evidence of deliberate damage. What's being alleged is a process where public figures are subjected to extreme humiliation, carefully recorded and used to strip away confidence and control. The aim, as described, isn't scandal or shock, but the dismantling of individuals who built their reputations on strength and invulnerability. By forcing moments meant to degrade rather than empower, the system turns image into a weapon, breaking people internally while they continue projecting toughness to the world.
Meek Mill came out saying that he'll pay somebody $100 grand to investigate that he has nothing to do with anything with Diddy.
Man, look, I can't. You can't take back what your received. That's just like the video that's coming out with him and Will. With Will Smith getting the Will Smith. You ain't heard the Will Smith footage?
Yeah.
Alright, Will Smith. Then they got the Carl Winslow. Yeah, they got a lot, bro. There's a lot coming out, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna just keep it to you 1,000.
The claims are no longer framed as stories alone, but as alleged recordings that may surface in the future, according to those making the accusations. The focus isn't on shock or spectacle, but on the assertion that influential figures were secretly documented in moments meant to strip dignity and create leverage. These allegations point to a system where private vulnerability is captured and preserved, not to expose truth, but to maintain quiet control. Whether proven or not, the message being pushed is clear. In certain power circles, documentation becomes dominance, and reputation becomes a pressure point used to silence, steer, and contain those who appear untouchable from the outside.
A victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this is, because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
Can't smile in your face the whole time.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They not seeing the victim. They not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
Oh.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like, what kind of asshole do you gotta be to take another boy, another talented boy, and put him in your place so it ain't gotta be you no more? Because that's what do. They get victims, and then once they get to a certain age and they get too old for them to enjoy them, they send them out to go get other young kids.
Here's the core idea, condensed and sharpened. The system doesn't stop with one person, it reproduces itself. Those who are pressured and broken are later pushed into recruiting others, turning victims into unwilling participants just to survive. This isn't isolated harm, it's a self-sustaining pipeline where control deepens with every handoff. By documenting the initial breakdown, the system ensures silence, compliance, and continuity. Each new recruit strengthens the structure, each recruiter becomes more trapped, and the cycle renews itself. In this framework, certain artists weren't just targeted, they were being reshaped to carry the system forward. And at this point, the discussion moves beyond theory, toward patterns, witnesses, and documented behavior that reveal how psychological manipulation unfolds in real time.
Meek Mill's got to deal with what he got to deal with based on the relationship him and Puff had. Dressing alike, being cozy, Puff calling him daddy, saying little innuendos to him. People are looking at that and saying Meek Mill is wrong for saying no Diddy. But you can't tell a man how to spend his money and how to make love to his wife or his Diddy. Diddy had rented a mansion out for Meek Mill's birthday party, and he had rented it for like $25,000. I remember we rented one of Cher's mansion out, you know what I'm saying? And that's the day he had fired his cook, but that's a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? It was me, Wolf, Mace, was Ox staying there? No, it was just me, Wolf, Mace, Puff, and there was one other person staying in the mansion. But anyway, long story short is that they came recently. This happened a long time ago, but they recently just made a statement that they found loads of cocaine. I wonder what they did with the cocaine, because they didn't turn it over to the police. They said they found loads of cocaine, razor blades. They said that the sheets were bloody, nasty. They found a whole lot of used condoms. And it was the Diddy party, giving it Meek Mill's honor for his birthday. I was like, yo, wow.
Here's the tightened core. A former insider claims first-hand exposure to how certain industry relationships operated behind closed doors, asserting that key events were widely witnessed yet quietly ignored. The allegation isn't framed as rumor, but as an example of how visibility and silence work together. Many saw enough to understand the implications, yet chose not to speak. What stands out now is the prolonged quiet from those involved, raising questions about pressure, vulnerability, and unspoken consequences. The broader implication is not sensational detail, but a culture of complicity, where influence, fear, and personal risk kept powerful stories buried long after the spotlight moved on.
A lot of the people that been in those parties and seen probably some unscrupulous that went down and was like, ooh, I was there. I hope they don't got me on tape. They feeling a certain way. So they're not going to speak on nothing until they've been approached with something. You got to realize when Homeland Security get their evidence together, they're going to send agents out. You understand? They might send an agent out to me. Yo, what do you know? What have you heard? What have you seen? What's been going on? You know what I'm saying? You know, did this happen when you was around him? Did this happen back in the day? That's what they're going to want to know. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to send investigators out. They're going to send people out for anybody that they can get some information from to help their case. So those celebrities ain't going to say nothing. You know, you got your man Stevie J speaking on it right now. He'll be one of the first dudes that they'll probably pull to the side and say, yo, well, you say that your man, I heard you on TMZ say that he never did this and he never did that. But ain't this you? If those pictures or those films or anything like that exists. You know what I'm saying? That's what they pay those agents to do. So, of course, I don't believe that none of the people who or his celebrity friends is going to speak or say nothing until they're either contacted or they know what they really got.
So you feel like they might be worried that they might be on tape at one of Diddy parties doing something they wasn't supposed to be doing?
I think that the celebrities that may be worried is because what Lil Rob said. Lil Rob said in his affidavit that Diddy had every room taped and bugged. Diddy had, yo, bro, can you imagine he had every room taped and bugged, and they found little bugs and little tape recorders, little those micro projectors or whatever like that, or video cameras. They found them in the house, bro. So by them having those things in the house, and people know there's drugs, there's alcohol, there's loose women, there's loose men, woman on woman, man on man.
Here's the essence: refined and restrained. A former insider describes a coordinated effort within the industry to hide mistreatment that others were aware of, pointing to a network that protected power rather than people. This wasn't the work of one individual or one public-facing role. It was collective silence, reinforced by influence and fear. Most alarming is the claim that recorded material exists and carries the potential to expose this entire structure. With legal proceedings concluded, reports suggest information may begin surfacing, shifting long-buried allegations into the public eye. The focus now isn't on threats or speculation, but on accountability, as documented evidence could soon force a reckoning the industry has avoided for years.
We all grew up in the streets. And we try to be better, but they labeled us felons, sent us back to jail. I had to fight against that the whole time to gain my respect and be who I am today, and I'm proud of it.
His words suggest more than legal frustration. They point to a pattern of intimidation used to enforce silence. Each sign of independence was met with renewed pressure, reinforcing control and vulnerability. This wasn't random hardship, but a deliberate cycle. The real cost isn't legal trouble. It's the lasting psychological damage of realizing the promise pursued was built on deception.
He actually caught HIV, like having like a lot of women.
Oh yeah, let's just go down the rabbit hole of all of his sins.
I'm just saying.
You want to know what's wild about that though? He faced that head up.
He did.
And he didn't stop. And he didn't stop doing what he's done.
He an advocate. Now he did that. And
period. Listen to me. He faced that head up. How many dudes is running around undetectable? G.
Come on.
In the game.
Man.
Because I could tell you 20 right now that I could rattle off names, and wouldn't nobody be able to sue me.
The allegation escalates from influence to alleged physical harm. Some figures are said to live with lasting health consequences from coercive environments, yet feel unable to speak because disclosure carries risk. Framed as systemic, not personal, the concern is that when power erodes consent and protection, the damage can become permanent, leaving people trapped between survival, silence, and control.
All the champagne was spiked, son. Like, all the champagne was spiked. Everybody was passed the out. I don't drink, so I was playing that off like I don't drink. I smoke. Like, I smoke and I had my own weed, but like everybody was passed out. Yo, Diddy had that man in the room. Look, yes, I put my ear to the door and I brought the phone because Diddy started going in overdrive. I ain't know what the was going on, but I just heard balls slapping against cheeks. I heard struggling to take. I heard being like, yeah, daddy. Like when he started all that daddy this and daddy that, and then I heard some hollering and struggling. Like, yeah, I kept the phone there and I recorded all this because I was like, this Diddy bitch. So I'm finna put the squeeze on.
The focus shifts to alleged insider accounts describing a calculated system, not isolated events. Environments were controlled, judgment impaired, and moments deliberately documented to create leverage. Nothing was accidental. What looked like entertainment is framed as a planned process of manipulation, using pressure and fear to establish control and trap people in choices they never freely made.
This is not right, man. So what the f I'm living for? Like, why the f I'm on this earth for? Like, why? Like, Osiris, why you haven't even? Like, this crash? Like, this do something that like, at this point, like, why the f you on this earth still? Like, why the f you? Like, why the hell you on this earth? Why? When nobody with you, it's like you don't have nobody. Like, what the f are you on this earth for? I can't even see my kids. Like, what the? I haven't made no music. I haven't made no money from music in like two and a half years.
This industry is not what you think it is. Don't let these people fool you, man. Before in this social media, I'm gonna give y'all a little background of me, man. Like, my life is not perfect, man. Don't think because I'm on Instagram showing this, showing that, I don't got a perfect life either. And I want you to understand that just because all these rappers show all this money and show all this fame, don't think their life is good. It's not. These people are always faking and let you know that this is not what y'all want. Do something that's low key. Do something that can help you out, other than being a target or a flashy. Cause God can take this away from you real quick, and it's not a blessing from God. And I tell people that 24/7, this is the devil's game. It is not. This is not no God's game. This right here is for you to look up to me. This right here for you to look up to me. This right here is for you to look up to me. If I don't wear this, you don't look up to me. If rappers don't do what they do, you won't look up to them.
Watch the collapse and ask what could drive a young artist, at the peak of opportunity, to such distress. Insiders point to broken promises and crossed boundaries, not weakness, but the cost of giving up identity and dignity for a future that never came. When total submission is promised as success and ends in rejection, the damage can shatter a person long after fame or money fade. Next voice? Next voice? When young artists speak out, trauma is mislabeled as instability, making their warnings easy to dismiss. Pressure and silence protect the system, allowing harm to repeat while success masks control. The question isn't about people, it's whether the industry will confront the structures behind it.